Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work.
Welcome to Let's Talk with Carl Lee. Let's Talk is proudly presented by Attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. FrankWalkerLaw.com. Let the conversation begin on Let's Talk.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Lee with Let's Talk, and I have both of my co-hosts in the building today, Hollis Lewis and Miss Odie.
Hello.
Hey, so we just passed Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving. I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. But I'm gonna open this up because Hollis has brought this up. Yeah. I'm curious now because he brought it up about what's your favorite food on Thanksgiving? What is your favorite piece? Is it the turkey? Is it the dressing? What is it?
Well, you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, mine is the stuffing, but I have a funny story about the stuffing this year. So my husband and I decided a lot of his family and my family were not available for Thanksgiving. So we decided just to stay at home and cook ourselves, right? So we had turkey breast, we had we had macaroni and cheese. We had everything set up, ready to go. Put the turkey in, got everything cooked. Sat down to eat, and Jerry goes, "We forgot the stuffing."
Oh,
and that's
man.
my favorite thing. I mean, it was good.
Do you home make the stuffing, or you
stovetop?
we had
No, it was home. Like we had the breadcrumbs, we had the
Okay,
celery,
you go homemade.
we had everything, and we
Yeah.
just forgot. And so it was a stuffingless Thanksgiving for me, and that's my favorite. Oh well, it was still good.
I like the stuffing too. Traditionally, I liked turkey, but I think now, and again, is this a Thanksgiving food? Deviled eggs, because you don't get them all the
those
time.
are good.
Like maybe it's not a Thanksgiving food; it's definitely a holiday food. But yeah, it would definitely be deviled eggs for me because you don't eat them all the time.
Yeah,
That's strange to me. Right?
Yeah, I love deviled eggs.
Of all the good food, you could go with the deviled eggs.
I mean, because
I could
you
eat
got
a
to think.
ton.
It would I would say maybe like a pie because I don't eat pie regularly or a stuffing. You think you eat ham, you eat a ham sandwich, turkey sandwich, you eat that kind of regularly. Mac and cheese is some that's on the menu throughout the year. But, deviled eggs is not something, that's like once or twice a year, maybe 3 times. So deviled eggs.
I'm gonna go actually with the turkey.
Turkey.
Like I actually like the turkey. I love the stuffing.
right.
But I because you don't eat turkey a lot.
that's
a
true.
lot of people don't cook it on a regular basis, and so it is
Not
one
like
of those.
not the full
blown
turkey.
Right,
turkey.
right,
Yeah,
right.
you get like lunch meat.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
Are you white meat, dark meat?
dark meat? But I'm. It's easy for me to eat the white meat as well.
Okay.
I've just gotten used. I just like turkey now. It's just it don't make any difference where I cut it
just
from.
want the turkey leg.
I just want love a turkey leg.
All right. Least favorite. We'll move on. Least favorite.
You don't have to rush off of it for me.
Yeah.
You should already know what my worst one is.
What's that?
Sweet potatoes.
No, hold on. What type of sweet potato? Because that's my worst one too.
I don't even care what kind of sweet. I don't even know what the difference in sweet potatoes are. They're orange. They're
Well, no,
Anti-sweet potato. That's
my
just
thing
it.
is I like sweet potatoes, but I don't like sweet potatoes sweet. So I don't like candy yams. You know how they do it with the marshmallows and the brown
all
sugar.
that
It's
sweet.
disgusting. It's just not good. I like a sweet potato. I'll do it like butter, like you do like a baked potato. I
right.
like it savory, but not sweet. So
Yeah.
that I agree with you. So we're one on
So
one now.
you're okay. So mine is cranberry sauce. I'm just not a fan.
That's my second one.
Yeah.
I love cranberry
especially
sauce.
when it comes to the table shaped like the can. You know what I'm talking about? Which was
Cranberry
always-
sauce and
that's always
turkey is
something good.
underrated. It's so good. It's so good.
I'm like Lisa. When you look at it, like when you take cranberry sauce, when you take it out
It's
of
like
the
Jell-O.
can,
It's good.
I don't even really do Jell-O. Really either. There's just a look in the texture of it that just
I'm not a fan.
it just doesn't do me well.
Oh well.
All right.
So I wanted to make sure we got that out because that's part of. So there's some people back. Some of the listeners are probably like sitting there having that conversation now.
Yeah,
Well, what
for
is
sure.
it that I don't like?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back and let's ask the question. WVU and Marshall, head coaches, new ones. What do you think?
I think the question that we probably was this successful season? Was this a step in the right direction for each program? And I think, and it could be neutral as well. I think Marshall, for me, they definitely took a step in the right direction considering everything that happened last year. And we'll talk about probably Ole Miss maybe about to experience that same thing. But Marshall, to me, because are they? I believe they're bowl eligible.
No,
they're not. Okay,
they would have been if they won Saturday.
Okay,
yeah,
they both lost.
Yeah, right.
But I think it was a step in the right direction. Now, whether you consider that a success or not, I guess that would be on you. But I think Marshall was good. WVU, kind of same thing. I mean, they lost a lot of players. Rich Rod's back. So I think both programs are taking steps in the right direction. I mean, WVU had a run mid-season.
Right.
You know, so I think they're on the right track.
And before you jump in,
go ahead.
To Hollis, that run, to me, I think is important because that shows where you can be. Now, you can say, well, who were the teams that they made the run on? I don't think that matters at this point.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
I think all that really matters now is the players that are playing for this new coach. They have confidence, and the coach has something to go back and say, hey, see this run? We can do this all season long if we do this, and that.
Yeah.
All we got to do is just get better at these things because you know how it is. You can pick out something and say, this is why this game went that way.
Sure.
We can change that, and we can get that to a win. So
I mean, I don't challenge that at all. I think you're absolutely correct. And that run included, that big win at Houston when Houston was ranked.
Yeah.
And then they came home and beat Colorado. So those were two, and of course the Pitt victory.
For sure. Right.
So
For
those
sure.
were three, teams that they really needed to beat in order to keep the momentum going. Unfortunately, I think what happened with WVU at the end is they knew that last game really was meaningless. And so Texas Tech just rolled in and rolled the team, basically. That was just an ugly loss on Saturday. But I think with Marshall, I don't know. The loss for Marshall on Saturday was not as – I mean, it still hurt because you knew if they won that game, they would be bowl eligible. And you hoped that they would get to that point. But I think it was a closer game, and people felt like it gave them some hope. Whereas, and I'm not saying people aren't hopeful about the Mountaineers, but I just think that last loss of Texas Tech was ugly.
Yeah, and I would say going back to Marshall, and you can also maybe make the argument that Marshall underachieved. I mean, they should have beat ULL. Yeah, that was the game they should have won. It was another. I think it was a Coastal Carolina. I believe that was a tighter game than what it should have been. So they were probably in about 2 or 3 games that they should have won, and they could have very well been bowl eligible.
Oh, for sure.
I think with WVU, and again, I know, we have, that's sort of our, here in West Virginia, our rabid fan base, turns towards WVU. But I think what WVU fans are going to have to consider is that we're now a mid-major. If you think about in terms of what's going on with NIL, transfer portal, blah, 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 you're going to have your big dogs like, LSU and Georgia and Texas and those programs like that. WVU simply does not have the resources to compete with that. So they're going to have to think about this in a different way. And the expectations to me are going to have to be tempered a little bit. So you're not, again, if we can get to a playoff run, we can get that scenario, good. I think that's going to be an ultimate success. But until we can start to match up some of those resources or at least get some continuity among the players in the program, it's going to be tough sledding.
I think, to your point, and adding a little bit to it, when you start looking at WVU and you start looking at Marshall and you start looking at your top players, those top players are not satisfied. They're not looking for where we're going.
100%.
They're looking.
Oh,
they're
so
looking
sad.
for. They're
It's
looking
true.
for where can I go?
Yeah.
And
To
where
get
can I get paid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the problem with WVU and Marshall and being the star on that team, you as a coach, I'm thinking the very first thing you have to do is you're going to have to find the money to pay that guy.
That dude. Well, I
if
mean,
Hollis is my guy,
Yeah.
I got to find a way to pay him and you and my top 3 or 4 guys. I got to make sure I got
And
money.
we lost our quarterback mid-season.
Yeah.
You know,
We
a starting
sure did.
quarterback, we
Yeah.
lost him. And,
Yeah.
you know, and I would imagine those guys who maybe get some all-conference recognitions, maybe if we can get a 1 or 2 on the All-American team, them dudes are going to be gone.
Absolutely.
And that's-
Unfortunately.
Yes.
And that's what I was going to say to speak to your point about expectations, Hollis. I feel like what's going to happen is every once in a while, I think WVU may get a shot at maybe the playoff, but it's going to be short lived because what will happen is what you guys are saying, and it's totally true. These bigger schools with more money and more resources and better facilities are going to swoop in and get those good players off of that team. So, excuse me, if that team would happen to be able to make it to a playoff and maybe make a little run, I don't even know if we could make it to a national championship, but if they would make a run, it will be short-lived.
So let me ask you this, and we can move to the conference championships schedule this weekend. What's the answer? What's the answer? And again, I'm going to kind of answer my own question. I'll let you guys answer. I think for me, the answer is like we have to get more homegrown talent, right? I know we're in a small state, and again, even that in and of itself is difficult to compete against other states who are going to get the bulk of their talent going to like a Alabama or LSU or what have you. But we're going to have to get those kids, and if the kids even aren't ready coming out of high school, I think it's going to have to be some sort of network where we work with like the UCs, the States, the Concords, the Fairmonts, get those kids ready on that level, let them show and prove, and then possibly filter into the program like a WVU or Marshall. But we're going to really, really have to, and the reason I say that is because those are the guys who are going to be dedicated to the program outside of NIL.
See, you are spot on.
Yeah.
But I don't think the players are I don't think that they buy into that.
You don't think they care even the homegrown guys?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't. No, I'm thinking the homegrown guys don't care about Marshall or WVU. That might be where I start at, or State, or UC, or whoever. This is where I'm starting. But I'm not interested in anybody other than if you give me $5 and Lisa's going to give me 10, I'm out, man.
You mean like a
I
stepping
don't know,
stone?
man.
Like
I
a
think you're
stepping
gonna
stone.
have-
Yeah.
I think you're
think-
going to have some loyalty there. That's the
I think
only
if
way
you
I
have
think it can
family
happen.
ties or something like that, like if your dad went to WU
Maybe
or you
alumni
had a cousin,
network.
yeah,
That might be
that would make a difference. I
I think that's possibly the only scenario that can keep a kid there, because as soon as the money comes, so let's say you got a scholarship to WVU, scholarship at Marshall, you're making let's just say they're giving you $20,000.
But I'm saying you got to add that you've been a fan of maybe that program your entire life. Your dad or your mom went to the school and you grew up going to the games. So I think that could be somewhat of an answer.
I think there's a lot of conversation. There's a lot of conversation about how that works.
Yeah.
But I seriously believe that it's going to be a huge, huge, huge challenge to keep players when there's money out there to be made.
Because I can't argue that.
Because now, how many high school athletes are out there who are thinking about money?
All of them.
I mean, that's
all of them.
So
That's
they're
the
not
whole-
they're not worried about going to
goal.
Marshall, WVU, UC.
So you're saying like loyalty in the school is kind of irrelevant.
Yes.
It's about where I can go get paid if I have that opportunity.
Because the loyalty is only going to get there when you're not sitting back at high school now in the 10th grade and start thinking like, okay, I want to go to Marshall. That's my thing. I want to go to Marshall. And because of that,
So you're saying kids aren't doing that? You don't think that?
I think
you don't
they.
think so?
I think they might be, but the problem with that is, I'm only giving you a certain amount of money. So, and as soon as Lisa comes in, and as soon as Lisa starts talking to me and saying, "Hey, Hollis, not only are we going to start you, we're going to start you off paying you this amount of money. Yeah. Where are you going?"
But I think the schools are trying to adopt that maybe homegrown type of philosophy. Look at their hires, their coaches. They know the only chance they have to compete in this collegiate world that we're in is to have some home ties, and that's why they hired Rich Rod at WVU. He's an alumni, and that's why they got Tony Gibson at Marshall. It's because he's from West Virginia and attended Marshall. So I think that they have to give it a valiant effort.
That's what I guess.
Because that's their only chance.
Yeah. In a state like ours,
yes.
I think that's the only chance. And I think the good thing about what we have going is that we have a collegiate system as far as the D2 system. We have a strong D2 system here in West Virginia. Mm-hmm. Unlike a lot of other states, like if you look at a state like Florida, they don't necessarily have like D2 schools, although they have a bunch of other schools. But we could actually use that D2 systems in all the schools that we have to build almost like a farm system. So it's the kid, he was the Kennedy Award winner, Collins from Princeton, receiver. He was at WVU, went to Concord, was basically leading the nation in receiving at one point. He's back in the transfer portal, and he stated he's not unopposed to going back to WVU. So I think if we could be creative and use kind of what we have, we could build some loyalty. Again, I'm not saying I can't discount anything you saying. You're exact and correct that if the money's involved, they get blinded by that and all that loyalty kind of goes out the window.
It's not going to fix what's wrong.
It's not going to fix, but I think it could be somewhat of an answer to us. And I think, heck, WVU and Marshall don't play. Maybe they can start working together a little bit on these sort of things to build that network.
I would think,
I don't know about that.
I don't see that. I don't see that would. I think that's a great idea, but I don't see that. I don't see that bond, ever.
Yeah, I don't.
Ever coming.
I think there's too much bad blood between those. I mean, especially. I don't see that happening. But it would be a good idea actually if they could, get over there.
Do you think that those two coaches?
They're friends.
I was going to say,
yeah.
Can if they could come together,
and who knows? Maybe they do.
Well, I mean, just like I think the school presidents. I think if you look at President Smith and the new president of WVU, I'm looking at it from like an administrative level, not that necessarily. Again, I'm not saying that they like work together as far as trading players or anything like that. I'm just saying building that network to say, hey, how can we make our institutions, football and athletics, better?
A question to both of you. If you had to try to figure out like what would it take for WVU and Marshall to recruit heavily West Virginia, is it worth their while or is it just not? Is it, can they find enough players that they can bring in, play maybe as freshmen, or is it just not? Are they just not?
As far as freshmen, no, that's not realistic at this point. What I proposed earlier is that if we could figure out a way to almost use our D2 system as a farm system. So if they say I have 10 freshmen, West Virginia kids who I like, but I don't think they're ready. So I'm going to work with Coach Penn. I'm going to work with UC. You go there, spend a year or two there developing, get better, show improve, and then we'll reevaluate you again. But I don't think we're going to get like this mass influx of West Virginia freshmen.
I don't think our state's big enough. Do you? I mean, I don't think we have enough high schools to fill that complete void that they have at both schools as far as players go.
Or we don't have enough talented players per team.
I just don't think we have enough.
I just don't think we have enough.
Yeah, we don't have enough players.
Student athletes. Yeah. But and the transfer portal will always be a friend for WVU and Marshall in this day and time. I think just to play, be able to bring in players that are ready to play immediately because what's going to happen is your better players every year are going to be picked up by the bigger schools with more money, more opportunity, and then we've got to go to the transfer portal in a hurry and fill those needs as quickly as possible.
And I think, like I said, I don't think, it's just the reality of modern college football. You're not like filling teams with a bunch of freshmen no more. But I think, again, there's a pathway. But before we go to break, we got the college conference championships coming up, so we can just, if you want to, we can make some little predictions. We got the starting out with the American Athletic Championship. We got North Texas and Tulane. Tulane is number 24. North Texas is 11-1, led by a quarterback, mind you, who never played in high school.
Yeah, that's amazing.
He was on the team, didn't play. He was like a third stringer. He's got a minimal time. Goes in North Texas and is probably maybe going to get drafted in the next year or two, or at least have a shot at the league. Yeah. So who do we got there? North Texas, Tulane.
And you said the quarterback was where?
North Texas.
I'm going North Texas.
I'm going North Texas too.
Aren't they the Mean Green? Is that right? I'm going with the Mean Green.
All right, Big 12 championship. We got BYU, number 11 team in the nation. Texas Tech, number 15 team in the nation. Big 12 championship.
Texas Tech.
Can't go against Brian Hughes. Got to go with Texas Tech, right? He would come in and hang us by our toes if we did.
Now, this is going to be in it. Well, we'll do this. We'll go ACC. Duke, not rated. They're 7-5 against Virginia, number 18, 10-2. Who we got?
Virginia.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Virginia.
I think I'll take Virginia.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to get spicy. We got number 4, Georgia. Number 10, Alabama, SEC championship. Who we got?
I'm going to take a little risk here. I'm going Georgia.
You going Georgia?
Yes.
And who's Georgia playing again? Alabama. Georgia's so good every year. They just find a way to win. I'm going to go with Georgia too.
Yeah, I thought Alabama should have got beaten the Iron Bowl. Yeah. Auburn gave that game away. Auburn they just couldn't hold on to the ball.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Georgia. And then we got probably the game of the week. We got the Big Ten championship. We got number 1 O State against number 2 Indiana. Who we got? Both undefeated teams, 12-0.
It pains me to say it, but I think the Buckeyes will win. I mean, they're that good. I mean,
yeah, they're it.
I gotta go. I kind of gotta go there too.
Yeah. Hey man, I'm going for the upset. I'm going Indiana.
I would love an upset.
I would love it too. But
I'm going
Indiana.
Okay.
Tough.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Let's Talk with Carl Lee is presented by Attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. FrankWalkerLaw.com. Comment on episodes or suggest topics at our Facebook page. Search for Let's Talk with Carl Lee. And remember to like the page to become part of the conversation.
Let's face it, bad things happen to good people. Seriously injured in a car accident, trucking accident, injured in a grocery store, or even wrongfully arrested or falsely accused of a crime. Life happens, and when it happens to you, you will need sound legal advice and aggressive representation. That's when you call Attorney Frank Walker at 304-413-0179. That's 304-413-0179. Lock it in your phone, text it to a friend. 304-413-0179. Or visit online at attorneyfrankwalker.com.
You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a guest that's walked into the studio, so we're excited about that. So Hollis is going to introduce.
We got our resident attorney, Paul. We're going to talk about the Lane Kiffin situation, and I'll let you lead us off, Coach Lee. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like at some point we have to be able to hold coaches in a space. Like if you're going to sign this huge contract, right, at a school, then to me, if it's going to be guaranteed, then that means you have to give up a guarantee too. So you need to be able to be. If your contract is $100 for 4 years, then that's what it is, and you can't get out of that without some kind of an issue. There has to be something that's going to hold you accountable, because I signed with you because you came and talked to my mom and dad and sold me on all of this great stuff, and I come to you and I'm excited about playing for you. Even if I'm sitting the bench the first year, I'm thinking at some point I'm going to be playing, and I'm going to be playing for you. And the next thing I know, you're leaving.
Yeah.
And again, my question is, do you owe the kids that you recruit, do you owe them anything?
So again, I think I'm pretty emotional about this. So I'm gonna let our attorney speak for us, give us some logic on this, and tell us sort of the ins and outs and things that we may not be considering before we all go rant.
And before you say this, is there, whenever you want to answer this, is there a possibility that there are contracts that will come up eventually that will hold players or coaches to that school so that they don't leave? Is that a possibility?
First of all, thank you all for having me.
he's right in the hot seat, right out of the gate. Paul's like, thanks.
But the reality is, I think the problem that we have is been created by the lack of leadership. I think the problem is that we've had a lack of leadership at the NCAA. That's the ultimate problem.
Yeah.
Okay. And I say that because, with due respect, I think if anybody got the offer that Lane Kiffin did, they would take it. Okay, let's just call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and what's in the offer? $91 million for 7 years, and I think he got $25 million for NIL per year.
And the $25 million, I think, is probably equally important to him because that gives him the ability to win the national championship.
Yeah. And that's $25 per year, I believe.
Yeah, that is correct. That's correct. Well, from what I've read, that is correct.
Yeah.
So I say that because he's now, as a mentor, he went into the homes of these student athletes, talked to their parents, and now he was their mentor. And he has taught them, and mind you, he has taught them that you must take the bigger, better deal every time. So why should the student athlete be restricted this upcoming year? It's January 2nd to January 16th to enter the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Why can't the student athlete talk middle of the season too?
That's exactly right.
If you're going to do that, if you're going to have a set of rules, then what goes for the goose is good for the gander.
And see, that's my biggest problem. And to your point, the NCAA, it should be disbanded. We don't need it anymore. It is useless. It is a useless organization that has failed over and over again to have any foresight about what's going on. Because even if you look at transfer portal, you look at NIL, 10, 15 years ago, you could have gave players $5-10 grand a month out of a collective, like, sharing, like, far as like the video games and the merch and all that. You could have gave them that, and we probably wouldn't even be here right now. So my thing is, again, to your point, Attorney Paul, that again, it's a difficult deal to turn down. But I think what has to happen is that we need to move the clock. It's insane to me that a school would be able to poach a coach prior to the playoffs. Ole Miss is going to the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
And you're not going to coach the college football. You could hire a guy within the same conference. You could just post the coach. I mean, this is tampering in the NFL. So I think what has to happen is that we need to move the season up. So the football season needs to start in July. And the football and the championship game needs to be played January 1st. So to your point, when we have the playoff, when we have the transfer portal window from January 2nd to January 16th, it can start free and clear. So that way all the games are done, because I think basketball, their transfer portal starts after March Madness. Why does the transfer portal starting when we're still having games going on? It makes no sense. So again, I would say either the NCAA has to get their together, or just get out the way and let the coaches and the college presidents and the ADs do this.
The other thing they could do is push the transfer portal back. And I agree with you 100%. The transfer portal should not be open when there is a game to be played.
It shouldn't.
It should. And the other thing is, what happens if you have...
But let me say this, though. The problem with pushing it back is that the semester's starting. So generally, college semesters are starting around that 15th, 14th, 10th. So between the 10th and about the 17th, their school's starting. So
then we need to make an adjustment to have that and accommodate that. And by the way, the same set of rules should apply to college coaches, football coaches. It should only open up after
that's a
the
good
last.
Point. That's a good point.
Okay,
that's
so
a really good point.
And yeah, I agree with you, Hollis. and I would say this. I don't know. I can't imagine coaching a school supposedly and connected to it. Because I'm connected to it. If I'm coaching it, I would like to think that I'm connected to it. I'm connected to it, to the players. I don't understand how I am negotiating a deal somewhere while we're still playing.
I think he has a history of this, though, doesn't he?
Yes.
Doesn't Lane have a history of this?
Yes.
I mean, this isn't surprising behavior from him.
No.
I think the only thing that, and not to change the subject, but I just want to get this out there because it just crawls under my skin so much, but his victim role he's playing right now, that, those mean old people at Ole Miss won't let me keep coaching the Rebels through the playoffs, Well, you made a choice. You went to their rival. I mean,
100%.
You're either in with our team or you're out. And buddy, you signed a contract. You decided your fate. You're done. You're not coaching our team in the playoff. Why would they even consider
Insane.
that?
In addition, why would you want to keep him there? Because now he's got $25 million of NIL money. He's going to start poaching those athletes that he wants.
Amen.
Absolutely.
And
Not to say that he can't anyway,
He's gonna do it anyway.
But if he's in their ear for the next 3 weeks.
Oh, he's going to take them anyway.
And see, that's sort of the other problem when you have a situation like this, particularly with a coach like Lane Kiffin, who had this massive success. And what we got to remember is that this is the best season in Ole Miss, regular season in Ole Miss history.
History. Yeah.
And he's been there for 6 years. So what's going to happen is that after this season, he's going to poach probably, I would say, at least 5 to maybe 15 players. So now, not only did he sort of wreck their playoffs by not coaching, after the season, he's going to take a bunch of players, bunch of coaching assistants with him, and now he's going to wreck their program. And they're going to be where Marshall and WVU was this year. It's just a wrecking ball all around.
So,
well, it just goes to prove again. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to say it just goes to prove again the schools that have the most money, the biggest schools with the most money, it's going to be a continual cycle of this. Your teams, like an Ole Miss, that although they're pretty prominent, but not in, their football team hasn't been that great. But once they get something rolling and they get a team building, somebody's going to come in and take your coach and take your players. I mean, that's just the cycle that we're in college football world.
Disgusting.
Isn't that what happened to Marshall last year?
It's exactly what happened to Marshall. And it was,
we don't even have to go out of state.
And they wanted to fine Marshall for not playing in a bowl game that they could not field a team for. I mean, it was insane.
Mm-hmm.
When you can't, all right, to your point, Lisa, when you can't field a team, a respectable team to play in the playoffs,
it's a safety issue.
There's a safety issue, and there's something hugely wrong with the system, because you did everything in the season to playoffs. Now, all of a sudden, coach leaves, kids leave, and you can't play. Yeah. So even if I'm a kid on the bench who probably wouldn't have played in the game, I don't get to experience that bowl game. And how could that even be possible?
Well, here's the good thing about the student athlete. As long as it doesn't infringe on the transfer portal, you can buy their loyalty. For example, a student athlete, you pay them X number of dollars for NIL. You have $100 for NIL. They've got the number of games in the season. You divide it, but you have it so that they get 50% through the season, and 50% they get only if they play in the bowl game.
There you go.
So that way you can at least control the student athlete. Now we have to come up with a solution so that we can do the coaches, because it's not fair to those student athletes.
Can they not design a contract when they sign coaches that would be?
Oh yeah, they definitely
can design it, but who would sign it? That's the problem.
If you give them that much money, I mean, they'll sign anything. Sign a deal with the devil.
Unless it's across the board.
Obvious.
it would have to be across the board, players and coaches of what
Everybody
you can
doing
and
it.
can't do.
Yeah.
But my thing is, unfortunately, why would the NCAA do that? Why would they even think to do that at this point? Like, to me, it's like it's the Wild Wild West, and they're okay with it.
But I don't think they're thinking. I'm telling you, this is the most lame duck organization I've ever seen. Just to not have the foresight to, like I said, just push the season back. Start it earlier. So we don't run into this. Figure out some accommodation for student athletes just in case they have to start school a little late. Figure out something that we can have a transfer portal that's not going to be in conflict with the season. Because what I'm saying, to your point, if we're talking about the players, because everybody's focused on, because I know what everybody, Lane Kiffin, you would have took the money. Everybody's so money centric. And again, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of resources to have in order to try to win that championship. But to your point, if I'm the starting tackle, or not even a starting guy, maybe a guy who's just going to play till his senior year. I don't have NFL pedigree and aspirations. And this is my opportunity to go to the playoffs to try to win a national championship.
To say you were on a national championship
to say
team.
I was on a national championship, or at least played in the game, right? So now that's going to be dented, and even their ranking might be off because he's not coaching and he took his coaches with him. So what I'm saying is, like, this just hurts not only the players, it hurts the program, but it also hurts college football because we have because I think everybody is just greedy, and we have a governing organization with a lack of forethought about anything.
Well,
and they're terrible.
According to Lane, he's not greedy, and this was a spiritual decision. In fact, if we could just play that clip really quick, Matt, we need to play this because I want these guys to hear it. This is actually what he told a reporter today. If you don't mind playing it.
Yeah, just there was something in me. This was really hard. My heart was here, but I just talked to some mentors, Coach Carroll, Coach Saban, and especially when Coach Carroll said, "Man, your dad would tell you to go, man. Take the shot. Take the shot. You've accomplished a lot here." I always hated how we only gave 1 year to Tennessee and left. I really hated that feeling of that. Even though it was an exciting year, but I think that we gave a lot to this program and to the city, and some of the most historic wins in this stadium we've ever had, and best regular season in the history of the school. So I feel proud of that part, but it just became time. I talked to God and he told me it's time to take a new step. It's a new chapter.
So it's spiritual.
Where's my
it was
violin?
A spiritual decision.
Exactly.
Yeah, come on,
It
man.
has nothing to do with the 5-star recruits waiting for him in New Orleans, right? And the money and the contract. It's all about. It was a.
God told him.
God told him to sign that contract.
I said this last week. I do not believe LSU is a better job than Ole Miss, because I think what's happening, if you got $91 million over how many years as far as just your salary, and then you have $25 million to spend on getting players, the expectation is championship next year.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Because it ain't good enough to just creep into the playoffs. You better have a significant run, and you better win a championship within 3 years, or he's going to find himself. They're going to end up paying a buyout. As opposed to with Ole Miss, I think he could have been there for the next 15 to 20 years and been an absolute legend.
The question becomes, and I'll pose this to all three of you today: am I interested in a long-term contract? Or am I just wanting to be at a school, make some money, and go jump to the next money?
That's what it is. I mean, I think that's what coaches are doing. They're getting the bag.
I think the coaches are doing that. I think the student athletes are not doing that. I think it's just universal, But to look at it, if you look at it from the NCAA's perspective, what do they still focus on? Their focus is still March Madness. They generate over $1 billion a year for the organization, just through that March Madness.
Wow.
When it comes to the college football, you've got other things that don't generate that revenue, so they're still focused right now on basketball. And what they need to be focused on is getting other jobs. Because I agree with what you said, it's time for them to go.
It's time for them to go. Because even if those billions that they're generating, those could go to the schools, and we could filter that money down to all, like a like a state or whoever, like
Right.
a D2, we can start to filter that money down so everybody not to be on a the same level, but they can also have some resources to spend and develop student athletes. Because I just don't think they're equipped. They just shown nothing good about them. Like I said, they could have solved. We wouldn't be in this problem if they would have just dealt with this 20 years ago when Eddie O'Bannon had the lawsuit and different things of that nature.
Do you replace them? I mean, what do? You don't have a reigning like.
I think you take the conferences and you have an AD or president or representative from like each school and conference, and you just create the board out of that. So it's like a board of governance. So it's like not necessarily that you're going to like these aren't hired positions, and it rotates every 2-3 years.
So often.
Let me ask this question. What I'm not okay with, I like what you're saying, but what I don't like is who we're picking. I want someone different.
You want coaches.
I don't want coaches. Because here's the problem. I'm fighting for, if you put me in a position to fight for my rights, I'm going to, there's going to be some things that I want. And so you got all the coaches want money. And so
I see what you're saying.
You're
not going to get anywhere because everybody's going to be worried about their own.
Yes, everybody's going to be wanting. How? So you want all coaches to get a $1 million? Wait a minute. No, I'm not saying you, but hypothetically, you want in that system. You want all the coaches to make $1 million.
No, I'm not saying that.
No, I know you're not saying it. I'm just hypothetically. Okay, so you want everybody to make $1 million as a coach, and it's a guaranteed amount, and it's for 5 years, right?
No, I'm not saying that though.
I'm not. Yeah, okay. I keep telling you.
Okay, my fault. Yeah.
I'm not putting it on you.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say is, it is all about what the coaches are wanting. When players argue about what they need, there's always this fight. It's always a fight when player safety, all these kinds of things that players want, insurance, all that. I mean, we don't jump on it. But now, because it's so many coaches who are now out here who are, quote, considered great coaches, they have an unlimited opportunity to make money and go whenever they want.
So they would make the rules in their favor. Is that what you're saying?
Because to me, the rules are in their favor right now.
What I'm saying, though, is
sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
I think the bigger issue is I think we have to address the fundamental question first. And
Okay.
I think the first question is, are they student athletes or are they going to be semi-pro athletes? Because if they're student athletes, going back to what you're saying, then perhaps we should have educators that control the NCAA. Mm-hmm. Miss Teacher here.
I like it. I like it a lot.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we have to define what their role is going to be. Are they going to be student athletes? Or are they going to be athletes?
I asked this question.
We can get rid of the student athlete.
Yeah, I asked this question. We talked about this a couple weeks back. I asked, when's the last time you've heard of an athlete be called a student athlete?
What they say, the NCAA says it when it's convenient.
Yes,
Yeah.
when it's convenient.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if you're a football player, basketball player, baseball player, you are a baseball player.
Right.
You are a football player. You are a basketball player. No one's worried about when's
Grades.
the last time you heard anybody. When's the last time you ever heard of somebody flunking out of school?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, these great athletes are all great students.
Yeah, I mean, I would almost say, and
It's
again,
going to make the case that's not happening.
it's hard to do
Yeah.
that because really, when you talk about making them essentially employees, we're only talking about football, men's basketball, women's basketball, because none of the other sports make money. So it would be hard to say we're just going to make these three sports employees and everybody else, y'all could be subject to the NCAA's rules. But what I'm saying as far as representation, if we get rid of the NCAA and we have representation from each conference, that would maybe include an AD, a coach, a player, athletes. That would include presidents. So it would be a collective body, a mixture of individuals who have a vested interest in seeing this thing go forward. Because I fear that where we're going, we're going to a bad place because we're going to a point where they're just going to be employees for those three sports. They're going to get rid of the student, indication after a while because it's just like you said. It's nonsense that we do that. I mean, you got players making millions of dollars. You got a coach right now with $25 million to spend on student athletes.
It's unbelievable.
And thinking of it this way, imagine if they took that $25 million, you could have 2,500 students that got $10,000 a year scholarships.
Oh,
Crazy.
yeah.
In a small, poor state like West Virginia, that would be great. It would help these students here in this state.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Same with Mississippi.
But we are focused on the top-notch players because the money is – we're talking about the money, but when we're talking about the money, we're talking about who? We're talking about the best players at whatever that level is. So that next tier player, what's he get?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Limited amount. Limited.
Very limited.
But I would
A
also
token.
say too.
Yes.
I'm telling
Cheaters
you, and again,
biscuits.
not to be a hater, but I don't even know if that's going to guarantee you a championship, because when we talk about having those sort of resources like at a pro level, you have a GM between that coach and that player, right?
Right.
You have a GM that has a different eye than the coach. So if you're just giving the coach the $25 million, just because you have a collection of talent does not guarantee that you're going to win on Saturdays. We've seen that. It's not always the most talented team that's just going to win. And I would just be very careful about giving a coach a blank paycheck.
Well, because
essentially.
to that point, I'm going to use you as an example. So you are the player on the team that I know as a coach who manages some stuff in and behind the curtain that you don't see. You might not see it on Saturday. You might not see it on Sunday. You might not see it on Friday. But I realize how valuable you are to the team. Am I going to pay you for that? You see what I'm saying? Because there's the other guy who's the great athlete too, struggling with his grades. So he's me, hanging out. He's hanging out. He's barely making through his grades. He's just wanting to have fun and play ball. But he's so good. Who am I going to give the most money to?
I mean, you got to give it to the guy with the talent. But to your point, I think that's where the management comes into place, because you got to figure – you got to have some team guys. You got to have the leadership. You got to have some talent. You got to have a good mix.
But see, I don't think they're mixing. I'm thinking they're taking the top players
and just throwing money
at them. Yes, and the guy who's sitting back there, who we think's going to be pretty good, man, but he's a leader and he's dealing with the kids to make sure everybody's doing everything okay. We ain't paying him.
Well, I think moving forward, you do need to have a general manager for these sports. You got to have somebody that's looking at it strictly from a business perspective and a statistical perspective. I mean, if you look at it, and I don't mean to throw anyone under the bus, but you look at Arch Manning. Okay, yes, he had a good win this past weekend over Texas A&M, but he got $8 million for 3 losses. I mean, $8 million. Yeah. I mean, come on now. Apparently Warby Parker wasn't giving him the right glasses because he couldn't see what to do.
Yeah.
Right.
The reality is we have to look at it from a business objective perspective. And this is where data analytics comes in. This is where you get a business person in there to help make those decisions. Because the coach is going to he or she may get emotional and decide to pay somebody something that it turns out not to be what it was worth.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's not going to be as easy as what people think, managing $25 million. And I would say I lived in Louisiana. I lived 10 minutes from LSU. If we think WVU has a rabid fan base, we don't know what a rabid fan base is. When you talk about LSU and Southern University, them two schools, they have just fan bases that are on a next level, and the expectation is championship or bust. They may not be saying it now, but when 2026 rolls around, it's going to be, all right, when are we getting the camper and we making the gumbo to go to the championship game in Atlanta or wherever it's going to be at? I'm telling you, that's the expectation, and like I said, I just think, to your point, even when we talk about coaches, as a coach, if you're coming up now, are you just thinking about how to cash out and get the biggest bag possible, or is there any coaches that are thinking about legacy? Are you thinking about, hey, I'm going to be at this school for 15 years, We might win some championships, might go to the playoffs. Are coaches even thinking that way now, like players?
Go ahead. I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think coaches probably have good intentions. Like in the case of Lane Kiffin when he went to Ole Miss, I think he felt like, okay, they're paying me good money. We've got a winning season here. LSU approached him with this offer, and it was probably just an offer he couldn't refuse. Right, all the money, that's generational wealth, and so he's definitely at fault. He's not a victim, but yet these schools are approaching these coaches mid-season or at the end of the season when they're getting ready to enter the playoff, scenario and giving them an offer that, he couldn't walk away from.
And not only did he get the generational wealth, imagine $25 million. To put it in perspective, that's almost $250,000 per athlete.
Jeez.
On the team.
Just
so you put
I thought it would be more than that.
just so you put it in perspective.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you have 105 students on a football team, you've got almost $250,000.
Wow.
That's per year too.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
Per year.
That's a ton. That's a ton of money.
Imagine being 17 years old and you got $250,000 or
And that
maybe
could be
I
a
don't even know how to
problem.
count it. I wouldn't even know how to count it.
And you think about these young kids, that's a lot of money
That's a lot
to
of
be
scratch.
laid at their feet and be able to handle.
And that's just
they're
a
not mature.
and
That's
that
just
could just be a baseline.
Yes.
Yeah.
That could be
Depending
a
on
baseline.
whatever else deals
Right.
they make. So
And again, we talk about, athletes, football specifically, about low-income families, where they come from. It's great. It's a great thing for those families,
Right.
Because it's changing the whole dynamics of those families.
Yeah, it's life-changing.
But it is totally something different into the sport itself. Because to me, it just doesn't seem right. It just doesn't. I mean, and there's some folks out there that's probably going to be like, oh man, he's just mad because he didn't get it. Yeah, I am mad I didn't get it. But I don't see how it's going to make players just be happy with the game, just happy about the game. It's about I'm in the game now because I want the money. And I'm hoping to get the money.
I think it. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we keep talking about football, but what about University of Kentucky? $21 million for their basketball team this season.
Wow.
12 to 15 players.
Is that the resources that they have, or that's what they're paying out?
That's what they're paying out.
That they're paying that out to the basketball team?
That's what I read.
Gee, and that's even less players.
Yes.
Jeez.
A max of 15.
Right.
yeah.
So each guy could get over a meal. Well
One and
over
a
a meal.
half,
Unbelievable.
Jeez, man. That's
But it speaks, again, it speaks to the money that's in sports that you just never think about, that's been floating around out there. Whoever's been clearing that money, whoever's been getting that money, whether it's the school, whether it's the organizations, whatever, they're comfortable enough now to throw that kind of money back to the athlete.
And I guess the bigger, what does it do for, how does that kick back to the school in any way? I mean, I guess, if you're Kentucky, LSU, right, you're getting that publicity from,
Well, if you're going to championships and winning, you got the alumni happy. The alumni will donate more money, right?
But I would think
I
the
think
alumni
that's the way it
works.
You
Yeah.
would get fatigued though, because you would literally you're going to get hit up every single.
But if you're
year.
winning, nothing matters.
Yeah.
If you're
I
that
don't
fan,
know, man. I
I
think
don't know.
you would
if
get
you've got that kind of money, you don't
alumni
care.
fatigue after a while.
Don't call me. I don't
Maybe.
have that kind of money. So, there's no reason to
Carl's
call me.
number's unlisted.
Yeah, I'm unlisted. Don't call me. I'm not helping and I'm not helping. And I've said this before. I'm not helping because nobody paid me. I had to work to pay mine to get paid. So I'm not.
But even with that, you should have been paid something. Everybody who played a college sport at some level, particularly if you were,
You know what they used
good,
to say?
you
know what
should
they
got
used to say?
something. What?
Did you get your school paid for?
Yeah, but that's not
Yeah.
what. Yeah, the
That's
value.
just exactly
and
what
we've
it was.
seen-
yeah, that's exactly-
That's old school.
Yeah,
That's
we've seen the
that's
value
not
of
the way
that.
it is
that's-
at all now.
The value of that is plummeting.
Yeah,
so,
because
unfortunately,
the reality to this, and I know we got to go. The reality of that is me sitting in a class doesn't cost any more money for that class. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like,
That's a
so
fact.
there's not. I mean,
Yeah.
so there is no cost to a class when you put 2 athletes in there. That's not going to cost the school any amount of money.
Yeah, you're right. Because whether you're there or not, the professor's going to be there.
They're going to be there.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
All right. Well, this
Get rid of the NCAA.
we'll get back on this topic, I'm sure, before the season's up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you listening, and we will be back again next week.